Alright, welcome back to Burn Rubber Garage. Last time you guys saw me, we went and picked up this gem. We need to get it running. That's all there is to it. While I'm at it, you're already in the mess, hands are already going to smell like gas. I've got this over here, CRF50, with an 88C race head and a lot of other fun parts on it that needs to get fixed as well. Won't start, gas in it smelled terrible, didn't even smell like gas. So imagine that's all gummed up. This guy won't fire over either. I imagine that carb's gummed up. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you the tools you're going to need to make a carb work. And if the carb's working, you've got fuel, you've got spark, you've got oil and air. You should have a good time. So stay tuned. I'll show you the tools and what the bikes are going to be able to do and if we're going to be able to get them to run. Behind me though, you can see right here, we've got the 72 Challenger. Sad news is we're probably not going to get any videos on that. It just sold over the weekend. Kind of sad, kind of not sad, but it's good. It needs to go to a new home. So with that in its place, we're probably going to find ourselves with a new project car. Super cool. Stay tuned. I'll get the tools set up. We'll get these bikes clean and we'll see if we can make them run coming up. All right, so what we've got here is the basic tool list. We've got some basic sockets here, all kinds, because you never know what size it's going to be. It could be different per the bike you're working on. Random set of screwdrivers, both Phillips and flathead. I like a couple little containers to spray the cleaner into. These are amazing. You put your bolts in there, they don't go anywhere. So little magnetic trays. In this case, they had to have a siphon, this bottom screw down here to drain the gas out of the carburetor. Imagine that, it's rounded, so not going to do us a whole lot of good in this case. Otherwise, I would recommend shut the fuel off here, drain it out here and pull it off. Where this gas was so bad, I pumped out of the tank. I did take the plastics off just to make it easier to show you guys. Shut this thing to off, and then we got some carb cleaner. Doesn't really matter. I usually buy the cheap stuff from Walmart or whatever. This one just happened to be sitting around. That's what we're going to use today. I've got the siphon, and then I usually got an old can to put the old gas into, which I've already disposed of. So next thing you see, we'll start disassembling the carburetor. Alright, so step one, what we're going to do is take the screw off to get this air filter. You may have a different setup if it's got a factory box. You may have a screw up top and then another clamp right here to hold it on. I'm also going to take these bolts off the back here. Once we do that, we'll have the carburetor out, and then I can really show you what the plans are for this. So keep tuned. I'll try and give this fairly in-depth, but I don't want it to be super long video either. So right there, that's our next step, is get that filter off. Alright, so we got this guy off. You screwed off the top. Here's two bolts you had to undo. One little screw on the air filter, and then pull the fuel line. This guy actually doesn't look bad, but I bet it's gummed up, varnished up. It smells terrible. So I mean, we got the choke that works freely still. I mean, that's kind of nice. This is not a factory carb for this bike. This is a little bigger carb. The little 50s usually don't come with this big of a carb. They're close, but they're just not quite that beefy. So what I'm going to do next up, we're going to go ahead and take these screws out of the bottom. That'll drop the bowl apart, and I'll show you how it looks from there. All right, man, wow, this thing really, really stinks. Whew, and you can kind of see there, that shouldn't look like that. It's got a nasty discoloration to it, and this stuff, I don't know if you can see that, but it is green. Those are not supposed to be that color, especially right, there you go, kind of right there. You can kind of see that is green. This is still flowing pretty freely, but we need to get that cleaned up. So what we are going to do here, if they can, some don't, some of the 50s don't. Beast did not have this. Get a screwdriver, take those out. Those need to start soaking. This is your main jet, so when you give it gas, this is where it comes through. This is your pilot. So what that does is that's the idle. If that thing doesn't let gas through, good luck on that thing. It will not idle worth beans, and this will not give you any throttle response. Once these are clean, I bet we run. We'll clean the rest up, we'll soak it, we'll go from there. You want to make sure the float, that does is when it's not full, it lets gas in, and when the gas comes up, it pulls it up and it shuts her down. We'll take that apart, make sure that's still looking good. It's pretty nasty too. This is bad. This has been sitting for a couple years. So let me get to cleaning this. If I come up with any tips or tricks along the way, I'll definitely fill you in. but man, I've not seen anything so green. All right, one tip I did want to share here is I've got this wire brush. It's been thrown around. It's really in pretty decent shape. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's in pretty good shape. Looks like it was used up here, but back here looks brand new. I like to pull out these bristles and use them to run through the carb. I can't find the tool that I use to run through my carb. So what I'm going to do here, pull one of these out, kind of show you what I mean by running it through the jet. So let me pull one of these out and I'll show you. All right, so I've got the little wire. You probably can't see it. Maybe you can just a little bit. I like to take it and push it through right here, because this is what it should be able to go all the way through. Now this one's going to be a lot easier than the Pilot. There you go. You kind of see the, let's see if I put it in my hand as a backdrop. Not really. You can kind of see it going through there. That will be enough to get the light through it. Should be able to hold this up. This is one of the jets to the light and be able to see light through it. Once you hit that point, I'm going to clean this screen off and we are going to be ready to rock and roll. I'll do that again with the Pilot jet and we'll make this happen. We'll see if this bike will fire with some fresh gas. Alright, so now that I've held both of these little jets up to the light and I can see through them and I've kind of cleaned them off a little bit, I can start to thread them back in, put it back together. I'm going to do a wipe down of this, but I want those jets on there so it puts it back in the hole. So once you get those, that's the main thing. This float seems to be moving as much as it's going to move. I don't think it can move too much more. As long as it falls back down. There's not a whole lot of room there because it's a small carburetor. We'll get these jets in there. I'll check this fuel delivery, make sure it's not clogged up, because there's a good chance it could be. And we'll go from there. So, alright, so we got this guy back together. It looks pretty good. It was in pretty good shape externally, but internally it was pretty trashed. The choke was clogged up. I don't know if you can see down in there, this choke opens this little bypass up, lets it run a little bit. I'm not seeing any real adjustment screws on this bad boy, just the idle screw right there. And what that does is this goes down in there and this is what lifts up to let the air and fuel go through. That spins it up so it lets a little more air go through, gives a little higher idle. Pretty decent carburetor. It's a Mikuni, so it's not a Chinese lovely pile, but definitely a decent carburetor. So here, we're going to get this put back on the bike, see if it'll fire. We're also going to see if we can get Beast to fire. I'm hoping for 50%. That's doable, right? Alright, so now as you can see, we've got the carb back on, got the bolts put on here. It's not the prettiest, but it's what works. It's what's been on there for a while. We've got the filter back on, fuel lines back on. I think that needs to go down just a little bit. And we are ready to put some gas in this. I'm going to finish up Beast as well. We'll get them both started. Then we'll see which one will actually fire. Like I said, I wanted 50%. If we get 100%, I think we'll be doing baller. Thanks. Alright, let's give a few kicks, see if it'll even fire. Let's try that. Well, it's not too bad without a choke. Well, let's give Beast a try. At least this one fired up. Okay, here's Beast. I don't have a plug for that. I think that's half our problem, so I'll get a plug and we'll fire that one up again. Beast, though, I did have a plug. I did plan on fixing Beast, so here goes nothing. Beast has a new plug in. Carb was just cleaned. First thing we want to do, always make sure the gas is on. You don't want to waste your kicks. May need nothing on the first. Probably going to take a minute for the gas to get to the carburetor. May have to choke it. It hasn't been run. All right, I think it's going to fire there. We've got some gas, I can tell. Ooh, that's super good throttle response. Just bear with me. I've got my handheld here. We are going to take Beast out for a ride. As you can tell, it is dark outside. cold. Yeah, it's not the safest thing you can be doing at night, but what do you do? What do you do? That, my friends, is very impressive. I think that was worth the time spent right there. So let's get back. This thing's got a lot of fun to be had camping and stuff. So hopefully it's not too dark. Look at the throttle response. I'm impressed. That is going to be a blast camping.